here Wednesday, February 18th. We are a week away from the combine. We have some NFL news happening. It's NFL never stops. Like we like to say, there's very few down periods, and hell, we're not even, just a little over a week after the Super Bowl, and we're already getting some kind of major fantasy news. So we will be talking a little bit about that. We will talk about the keep straight cut and how they added the rookies in. So I think it's always a good to kind of look at initially where they're placed. I don't know exactly their process when they initially add guys to the rankings. Maybe they're kind of basing it off of like where the picks are being valued a little bit or something. I don't know. But we'll kind of look at that. And of course, answer any questions that you guys may have. So Benjamin's here. Benjamin. Well, maybe not. He sent that at about 2 hours ago. So I'm not sure if you're still here, Benjamin, but
champion at the
good evening to you. Yeah. But yeah, so again, we were kind of went over the news before going live, and if we missed something, let us know. But the three big things that I've heard over the last few days is obviously Tyreek Hill getting released, and then the Seahawks planning on not franchise tagging Kenneth Walker, and the Jets planning on franchise tagging Breece Hall. So what's your thoughts on first the Tyreek Hill news? What's up, Blizzard, and Benjamin is here. The Tyreek Hill news, who, by the way, because he was released at this time, he can sign now. I think last year that happened to someone and they signed. I want to say it was like Joe Mixon with the Texans. Maybe that was 2 years ago. Mixon was 2 years ago, but I feel like there was someone kind of significant where this happened and they signed like before free agency. Maybe it wasn't fantasy, but anyways, Tyreek Hill. Any ideas where you want to see him go and kind of what it means for the Dolphins guys and all that?
Yeah, it's definitely, obviously it's great for Waddle. It's probably great for ETN if he stays there. Not that they were necessarily like ETN anyways, like competing against each other. Interesting that they just let him go. Maybe there's just no trade market given his contract and his age and everything. Like where do I want him to go? It's kind of hard, right? Like we know the talent of Tyreek Hill, like from the past, but he's coming off a major injury. Fortunately, I guess for fantasy wise, it was early in the season, so that could be good. I'm just kind of looking up his contract right now.
Yeah, I think they might have like wiped it from the. They saved a shit ton of money, like $30 million or something. I think the contract was at the point where they could get out of it pretty easily and stuff. So,
it says they avoided a $51.1 million cap hit, but that is just AI overview real quick.
Yeah, and then maybe I don't know how much dead money was there off that 51 million cap hit. I know they cleared up a bunch with all the guys they let go.
He can go there's a lot of wide receiver needy teams, right? Like, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Jets, the Steelers, Commanders, Tennessee, or I guess the Titans, since I called everyone else by their mascot. Where do I actually want him to go? You can even throw the Saints in there. It's kind of easy to say like, oh, Kansas City, like go back to like Mahomes and stuff, right? But we don't even know what the Mahomes situation is. But assuming that Tyreek is like fully healthy and everything, like throw him on the Bills. Like I feel like that's going to be like the easy answer for any wide receiver, right? But I honestly, I don't know, and maybe you can clarify some of this as far as what Tyler Shuck's arm talent is like, if he can support a receiver like Tyreek. Just in general, like that, he could be a good complementary piece to Olave, but I just don't know a lot about Shuck.
Yeah, I mean, Tua didn't have a big arm either, really. Like, I don't know if whenever you would see, like, not whenever, but you'd see a lot of like Tyreek Hill catches deep where he's like kind of like stopping and coming back to the ball and stuff. So I don't think it would be that much of like, every NFL quarterback can throw the ball 40, even 50 yards for the most part down the field. Maybe it's easier for others and stuff, but yeah, I think there's a lot of good spots for him. It's really going to depend on Tyreek. Like, does he want to go and win a championship, which he's already won one, so maybe he doesn't really care about that. Or does he, just want to get the payday somewhere, So like he could, I don't know. I don't know what non-contending teams really going to be that interested in Tyreek Hill, except for maybe like the Raiders or something. And the only reason I say that is because like there is value in like having someone like Tyreek to help your rookie quarterback kind of like grow and develop, even if it's just for a year and you don't have Super Bowl aspirations. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are the easy one. The Patriots would be, can't remember if you said the Patriots, but Drake May was like one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL last year. So that seems like a pretty nice pairing. Does he reunite with Mike McDaniel and with the Chargers? Like Herbert and Tyreek Hill would be awesome. So Mick says he's selling Tyreek shows the second he signs, which I get it. I totally get that, especially if he signs with the Chiefs, Bills, Patriots, those buzz teams there. If he signs with one of those teams, you're probably better off selling him. I wouldn't be shocked if Tyreek, he did have a pretty significant injury, but I don't think he necessarily lost like any of his speed the last couple of years. He still looked fast and good, even though, we haven't seen a huge Tyreek Hill season since 23. And he had basically the last time we saw him in a full season, he had a pretty down year, right? But I totally get you wanting to sell him. I would wait, like you said, to sell him. I don't know if teams are going to really. I don't know the whole rules behind it all. Like he's going to need to obviously like pass a physical, and can you do that right now with it? Technically, like you're kind of in between, the new league season hasn't technically started. I don't know all the rules and details of all of that. I just know that he can sign somewhere now. You know what I think it was now? I think it was Jonnu Smith signing with the Dolphins a couple years ago when he signed in like February or something, and it was kind of like an under the radar move or something. That I don't know why that just popped into my head, but yeah.
I wonder what you're going to actually be able to get for him. Like you trading him for a late second to a team that's contending in this class. Like Keep Trade Cuts got him. He dropped actually 13 spots yesterday from wide receiver 77 down to 90.
Part of that would be all the rookies being added. So maybe there's probably 7. Yeah, there's probably like 7 to 9 rookies probably ahead of that. So,
yeah,
you see a lot of down arrows on Keep Trade Cut right now.
Yeah. So, okay, that makes a little more sense. Mid to late second, yeah. Yeah, I can understand cashing out, but I can understand buying them at that price too. As a wide receiver depth piece, just given what we've seen in the past. But, trying to catch that falling knife is difficult.
I mean, do we feel the same if he signs a decent payday with the Patriots, with the Bills, with the Chiefs, with the with an elite quarterback? I feel like Stephon Diggs is probably a good kind of a measuring stick a little bit. It was like Stephon Diggs, easy to forget, came off an ACL injury this year. He came back. He was 31, 32 last year. I think he turned 32 in the middle of the season. Put up 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, 85 catches. Like, I think these guys can come back, and the big reason why Diggs had a good season is because Drake May had a good season, right? So, I think it's an interesting talking point. I think I'm fine selling him right now for that, but if he did sign with one of those big teams that we're talking about, I think I would just hold, to be honest. I guess it depends on my team. If I'm not really looking to compete, maybe I take it, but I might just hold out as well. Like, you could maybe sell him more in September, as the season gets closer, and you get a 27 pick, which, everyone's drooling over those draft picks right now. So,
yeah, I honestly, I think that might be like kind of like the smart money move. Like just kind of like holding, like, depending on team build, obviously. But I mean, just holding until he's actually producing, and then I don't know. Some people still value their picks even in September, like even if like after they're 4-0, and they're like, I'm not giving a second for him. He's old, and it's like, well, look at what Devontae Adams was doing this year, and that would have been a steal, right? And Devontae Adams 2 months older. So yeah, obviously the situation's completely different, or unknown anyways on one side of it. So I get it.
Yeah. And also, like, it doesn't take much. Like, Tyreek Hill week 1 comes out and gives you, 5 for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Like, people are going to be freaking out, Hurt Denver. What's up?
No, I just said he's back.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take much, like, it really doesn't take much. So, Hurt Denver was a favorite landing spot, a favorite. Yeah, I don't mind that one. Like, you have obviously Cortland Sutton there, who I believe is still under contract, but he's, getting up there in age. I just typed in Cortland age, and it showed me looks like a city or something. It said 206 years. I was like, what the hell?
Like, is that in like England or some shit?
I don't know. I can't really tell off of this map.
200 years old is, I guess that's probably more America than anything.
Where's Wheeler Lake?
Right next to Wheeler Gorge in Ojai. Okay. I don't know.
Wheeler Lake. Anyways, yeah. So I wouldn't mind that at all. Like, I think he's probably better off being somewhere where he's not the focal point, or he's kind of like the 1B at best. So fire up the mock cast. Yeah, that'll be Sunday. We'll do another rookie mock. So if you can join us Sunday evening, probably keep it to Sunday evenings for now until we get a little bit closer to the draft. Wheeler Lake's in Alabama, in case anyone was worrying or caring about that, if that's the same Wheeler Lake. Would you buy or sell?
Nobody was caring.
Buy or sell Mr. Malik Neighbors at wide receiver 4. I think this just kind of depends on your league a little bit. I don't mind down tiering from him to like any of the guys he's kind of in the same tier with: Amon-Ra, Jettas, Lamb, London, even like a Teteroa. I don't mind up tiering if you play in a shallower league, and can you trade Garrett Wilson and I don't know, Luther Burden to get to Neighbors or something like that. So deeper league, I'm fine with down tiering and like diversifying Neighbors a little bit. In a shallower league, I'm probably just going to hold Neighbors or try to buy him, like up tier to him. So I think he's kind of appropriately ranked in that tier of guys, that second tier after Puka, JSN, and Chase. So
yeah, I think he's kind of a tricky one, right? Like, it was obviously better to try and buy him during the season. Last year, like, guys coming off these injuries, they don't always look like themselves. Like, it's quite often they don't. So I was gonna say, he's like a good rebuilder kind of target, but that he was even better back when he wasn't playing at all, right? So
Yeah. So kind of a little bit of both there, James. I mean, if you let us know like your league settings and stuff, I can give you a little bit better answer of kind of how I would approach that. Chris Bell or Tyreek Hill. So Chris Bell, the wide receiver prospect. So basically you have, for the most part, and I do want to talk about this a little bit later today or later tonight, is the Keep Trade Cut added the rookies into their database and stuff. And sorry, just my cat's digging in a plant. And I'm just watching her. So you have like your top 5 receivers. The top 3 seems to be Lemon, Tate, Tyson, and then you have like the next 2 in Concepcion and Boston. Some people feel like Boston should be a little bit closer to those top 3 guys, and then after that, it's a little bit open. Who's the next guy? Some people have Chris Bell. He's kind of projected to be early second round pick. Potentially. He tore his ACL on November 22nd, I think it was. So that's going to be the issue with Chris Bell, is he might have a little bit of a red shirt year in the NFL, because is he going to be ready for training camp? I don't know. And if he's not ready for training camp or the beginning of the year, we did see it with like Judkins where, he didn't, he just kind of came in with no training camp and just kind of took over. I think it's harder for like receivers because a lot of it's about timing with your quarterback. Again, like if I'm a contending team and Tyreek Hill is on one of those, buzz teams that we said, I'm fine with trading that, essentially an early second, potentially a late first for him. Probably an early second. If I'm, kind of a middle of the pack, not sure where I'm going to go, I probably just take Chris Bell, maybe wide receiver 6 in the class, early second round pick. So he's a fun player, Chris Bell. He's essentially like a linebacker weight. Like he weighs like 220. He reminds me a little bit of like Debo in the sense of like he's a thicker receiver, but he runs probably in like the 4.4s, which is, good if it's good in general to run in the 4.4s, but especially if you weigh like 225 or something. So I think that's kind of right around where Tyreek should be valued with like this rookie class. So kind of that early second, as of right now, at least. Mike Washington or Chris Brazell. I mean, I'm going to go the running back there. So as of right now, if I'm drafting, I might go Brazell because he's a very good chance he's a second round pick in the NFL draft, and Mike Washington could easily be like a day 3 pick. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, you're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, we never even talked about Ken Walker or anything. You need to focus, man.
I know. I wanted to get, and Mike Evans was the other one that Cass brought up, that he was another kind of news. 260 years is about right for Sutton. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't seem old to me though, but he has been in the NFL for a while. He'll be 31 in the middle of the season, so still young-ish. Still has a couple years. Mike Evans signing, if not Tampa. Yeah, so that was the other news that we can talk about. So yeah, Mike Evans seems to be looks like he's going to explore his options. I would assume that means he wants to go to a contender, right? Like I know he's already won a Super Bowl, but like, if you're not going to go to contender, like why leave Tampa when you've been there your whole career at this point, So Jags come to mind to reunite him with Liam Cohen. I mean, they don't really need another receiver like as of now, but Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator of the Bucs 2 years ago. I mean, I feel like we're just going to recycle some of those teams we said with like Tyreek, right?
Yeah, I mean, teams that need like a nice, just a nice touchdown threat, like what if he went in the same division over to the Panthers? That's one we didn't mention, who could use some wide receiver help. That could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope they just keep him there. I was just looking up Tetaroa right now. I didn't realize he was so tall. I didn't watch a lot of Panthers.
Was he 6'3", 6'4"?
6'5", just like Mike Evans.
They're lying. He's 6'6", and they didn't want to say that. There's there's been like hardly any receivers like above 6'5" that have ever been good. I mean, there's not a lot of humans that are above 6'5", but so they always say like, oh, it's like 6'5". Don't be taller than 6'5", or don't be, if you're a quarterback, don't be taller than 6'6". It's just, there's never been any quarterback that's good over 6'6", really. What about I mean, man, I could see a lot of teams that could just use a Mike Evans. I mean, like I was looking at like, what about like the Packers? I mean, that would suck for us, but like, I'm sure they would love like a big red zone threat like that, Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say wild card Vikings. Minnesota Vikings. No one thinking about it, and he's going to go there. 49ers, they need to, I mean, essentially the 49ers have Ricky Pearsall and Demarcus Robinson, like of receivers who like helped them last year that are going to be healthy to begin the year. Like Kendrick Bourne's gone. Ayuk didn't help him, but he's not going to be there. Juwan Jennings is a free agent. Maybe he signs back. George Kittle, late season Achilles injury. Like it's like Pearsall and Demarcus Robinson. So maybe the Niners.
I don't know. I feel like Baltimore could be kind of interesting too to complement Zay Flowers. Obviously, that's not what we've seen from Baltimore in the Lamar era, but coaching change this year. We know Lamar can get it done through the air to some degree. So like his passing game's only improved year over year. So I don't know, maybe a little identity shift there. That could be interesting. I mean, it would kind of check some of like a lot of the boxes as far as like they could definitely use a guy like him, not just Mark Andrews in the run game, in the like kind of like change it up a little bit, or at least give yourself the option. But also, a contender, so
yeah, absolutely. James, I assume you're referring to like rookies last year. So guys going into their second year this year. I mean, the obvious one is like a Luther Burden, but that's not really sneaky, right? So a couple of them that I'll throw out. I think Kyle Williams is really good. Patriots wide receiver. I think he's very talented. They didn't need him this year. I don't think it was a case of just like he wasn't good enough to get on the field. I just think like they got really good production from Diggs, from Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry had like a really good receiving year. Those are veteran guys. They were winning games. You tend to trust these veteran players to kind of do the right thing and not make rookie mistakes and stuff. So I still have hope in Kyle Williams, like developing, especially with that. We just talked about those receivers. You can't just expect that to repeat next year. So who knows if Diggs is off the team? I think like all those guys are still coming back, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be as productive. And then I kind of like Jalen Royals, who I really liked as a prospect, Chiefs wide receiver. Again, you kind of just look at like the Chiefs and their receiving core, and there's a lot of questions there, with the Rashee Rice, legal stuff, and maybe that was settled and all that. Kelsey is potentially retiring. Even if he doesn't, he's another year older. Marquise Brown, free agent. Tyquan Thornton, Juju, all free agents. Xavier Worthy's kind of been a bust at this point. So watch out for Jalen Royals as well. I think he's a really good receiver. And I think there's some opportunity, sneaky opportunity there. So those are two I'll throw out. Do you have any others?
I don't know. Like the word sneaky is kind of throwing me off, right? Because it wasn't like a great wide receiver class necessarily, but I immediately thought of Jaden Higgins. I feel like the line in for Houston can only get better, and we saw some bursts there. Like I think he does things different than Nico. We know Stroud can get it done if he has time. not like super high end, but we know he can, like, dude can play. So
yeah.
And not a bad stat line for the year, you know, like, I mean, not great, obviously, like you weren't ever really starting him unless you were like really up against it, but 41 catches, like you broke that 500-yard mark that we've talked about before, and 6 touchdowns too, in a year where there wasn't a whole lot to be had for Houston.
Yeah, and he was really good not really good, but a lot of that came in the second half, you know, which is good to see that. That's kind of what you expect.
That's what we should expect, right? It shouldn't just be like, oh shit, this guy's awesome right from the get-go.
Yeah. Also, Pat Bryant is another one that I think, like, you know, to me, guys like, and I agree with you about Higgins. I do think he's obviously capped with like Nico there. Whereas like Kyle Williams, Jalen Royals, probably a little bit capped himself, but like Kyle Williams, Pat Bryant, like they can have really big roles in there. We're not even, you know, expecting them to have these big roles. You know, we saw Pat Bryant kind of like take over Troy Franklin's role a little bit, even though Franklin was playing pretty well, you know. And then you have Sutton. Need to look up his contract. Sutton, who's another year older, you know. Can they save some money? Looks like no. So they're going to keep Sutton one more year, but yeah, I think those are some definitely good ones. The other guys I'm not super excited about, to be honest, like in terms of breakouts, but Jordan Watkins for the 49ers, he was a 4th-round pick, kind of a out of nowhere 4th-round pick, and we just talked about just how you know, their receiving core, they need to like completely rebuild there. Watch out for Jordan Watkins too. I would be stashing him if he's on the waiver wire, just based off of opportunity. I mean, I'd be shocked if they went into the season with like Ricky Pearson to Marcus Robinson, but you never know. So we were shocked when the Cowboys went into the season with Rico Dowdle, and look what that turned into, you know, like or the Vikings with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. What's up, Daniel? You can tell me if I need to drop this in your sleeper inbox. Was thinking of sending you a trade around McBride for Gibbs in the Zeus League if you're interested. I'd be interested in listening for sure. I'd be interested in listening. I got a lot of good running backs in that league. So yeah, we can put something together there. I think that would be interesting. First year in a 32-team dynasty. I'm going through a full rebuild on my own and own my own 27 first. Should I try not to draft any players in 26 and move all to the following year since I'm tanking? Or basically, are you saying like, should you trade your 26 picks for 27 picks? I would say for the most part, like your seconds and thirds and fourths, yes. Your first round picks, it kind of depends on like what you're giving up and what you kind of expect to get. Like I still really like, as of right now, I'm getting close to the first round of this rookie draft that I really like. It went from like, there's like 6 players to, I think there's like 8. Now I'm getting close to like 10. Obviously landing spots are going to be important here, but I'm kind of liking this rookie class more and more. So yeah, the first round pick, it just kind of depends on what you're saying there. Like, which pick are you giving up and what are you kind of hoping to get in return? So
I have so many questions.
I don't have a 26 first. Yeah.
First of all, 32 team dynasty, like, it's like I don't even think we know 31 people to play fucking Dynasty with, and we have a channel, you know. So,
well, we definitely do because we have 3 listener leagues. So,
yeah, I guess. But I mean, we're 2 of those people, and then plus I don't know. We don't even. That's not even. I don't think that adds up necessarily. It's close. Anyways, how many fucking rounds do you do? And like, there's got to be like no waivers. Essentially, and what are the starting lineups? 1 of each thing, you know. Like, it's like, so it's a 32 team super flex league. It's like, what the fuck?
4
he
rounds,
didn't say that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. how many players are you starting in your lineup, Michael? Sounds fun though. I mean, like change it up, do something different. I might try to start something there. Yeah, I mean, I would trade my 26. If someone just said, here's a 27 third for your 26 third, I would do that for sure. Whether I think, I don't care if like, oh, this is the 304 and this is a contending team I'm trading it to, and it could be like the 310 or something. I'll probably still take the 310 next year over. I mean, I'm as of right now, I would take like the 310 next year over like the 303 this year. So yeah.
32 team 4-round rookie draft. Slow draft. How long does that take? Yeah.
Holy crap. So quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, tight end.
Okay, so it's IDP.
Okay, IDP. That does change things. I would like to know.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, I would like to know how valuable IDPs are in that league. Like, what kind of value are they bringing? I mean, you obviously have a deep one, where it's not just like 2 IDP players. You have a whole roster there, a whole starting defense, essentially. But in terms of like their scoring and stuff, like if they're actually comparable to any position or something, draft takes like a month. Sounds fun though. I mean, damn, if you can build a dynasty in a team like that, like I have to imagine like someone, if you have 2 top 10 players, like you're sitting pretty, again, not knowing what the defense is doing.
I can just hear Dad like bitching about the draft in a league that he's not even in. It's like you would freak out like when our rookie drafts would span over 2 weekends,
Yeah. It's like, what are you rushing for?
Yeah.
Like to just not have anything to do for 2 months?
It's mid-April. This is bullshit. It's like, all right, well, calm down, old man.
Is that 2 points for combined, like combined tackles, or does it have to be like solo tackles? I'm just like trying to figure out. So like Jordan Brooks led the league in tackles this year combined with 183, right? So he gave you 366 points, which is 21.5 points per game just off the tackles. If it's combined, if it's solo, it's about 200 points he had. So pretty valuable.
Yeah. So Ken Walker.
Yeah. 2 for solo. Okay. So he was more okay. So he basically gave you about 200 points from tackles. Which is just from tackles, he's giving you 11.5 points per game. And then, I'm sure, I don't know how many safe sacks and interceptions he had, but okay. So it sounds like I would say like they're probably a little bit more valuable than like tight ends, but maybe not quite as valuable as running backs and wide receivers and quarterbacks. Maybe, I don't know about quarterbacks. You only need 1, but there's 32 teams. Yeah. If you want a team review for that one, we'll definitely like break that down. I'd love to look at like the WAR on a league like that,
Not me.
So I think it'd be interesting. Ken Walker. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about with him. I would say, like, do you think his value should go up right now that we know he's not going to be on the Seahawks? Well, we don't know for sure, but there's a good chance he's not on the Seahawks. But value goes up or down?
I think that the perception will be that his value goes down, and I think that prevents even more of a buying opportunity because there was always the possibility he wasn't going to be there, and there obviously it looks a little more like that now, but I don't think that it necessarily means he won't be there.
I think it's a very good chance because, like, if you're the Seahawks, because now you're just basically in a bidding war. Like, you put yourself in a bidding war. Like, I don't know if do you really want to commit 3-4 years to a running back. I don't know if they want to. So like I think it would have made much more sense for them to franchise tag him and just play him like that. Or if they did want to re-sign him, still franchise tag him, and then you can work out a contract. So I would assume he's gone. He's up to
MVP Ken Walker.
Yeah.
Who actually said that on the Seahawks? Do we know? I just looked up the Coach Speak Index to see.
Said what?
Who actually said that about Ken Walker? Was it Mike McDonald?
About not franchising?
Yeah, it was just like the team said that, right?
I don't know if like anyone came out and actually said that, or it's more like insider information or getting that vibe, and someone put that out in the world. Like, you know, there's always people providing information, people affiliated with the team, like providing information to like insiders and stuff. He's like one of the only, like, again, you go to Keep Trade Cut, everyone has down arrows because of like the rookies coming in. Ken Walker's like the only one to have a green arrow up 5 spots. He's up to RB 15 now. So I actually think it probably increases his value because like we just saw what he was without Charbonnet, and now we're assuming he's going to go to a team that doesn't have anyone, you know, with the caliber as good as Charbonnet. So I would assume it's going to increase his value, you know.
So Adam Schefter is the one who reported it.
What did he say?
Just says the Seahawks are unlikely to place the franchise tag. I'm trying to see like if they say why.
Yeah, I would be surprised if someone actually like came out and actually said that, like to the public. So I think it's just these guys. You know, there's a lot of people that work with like the organization, you know, and who knows what goes on in this insider world, or like, you know, hey, pay me $500 and I'll tell you something about Kenneth Walker, you know, like,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if shit like that's going on.
I'll put my Venmo in the comments right here, and you guys, someone can send me $500 and I'll tell you something about Ken Walker.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be true, but consider it super chat.
Yeah. And then Breece Hall, did Schefter also report that? Sounds like he's going to get, I saw it from Sleeper actually, now that I remember, but not like on my phone, somewhere else. And Breece Hall is going to get franchise tagged potentially. And I think that probably brings his value down as of right now. So am I crazy to think like if the Jets can just get like an average, if they can, even if they just had like a Jacoby Brissett, that they might not be that bad this year, like offensively for fantasy, maybe not as a team, but like, am I crazy to think that? Like, man, you have Garrett Wilson, maybe they draft a wide receiver. You know, you have Mason Taylor, Breece Hall, like I don't know. Maybe I'm just
get Malik Willis in there.
Sure.
Relive the Justin Fields experience all over again. I mean, they do like the punishment, the Jets do, you know, so I don't have anything against Malik Willis. I'm just throwing him out there. It's like, oh, yeah, why don't you just go ahead and re-sign or trade for Aaron Rodgers again while you're at it, you know, like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, maybe Aaron Rodgers is going to either Minnesota, Arizona, or just re-signing with the Steelers. So,
yeah. I always forget that this, I always kind of forget that this is possible, and maybe you tell me, like, I feel like this is one of those things where people are like, this could happen, but it like never does. You have a much better memory on all this stuff, but like as far as like tagging a guy and then trading him, I know they tag them sometimes to work out a long-term contract. But how often does that happen? You know, like tagging and Tagging and trading, I mean.
I remember that like being more of a thing in the past. But yeah, it definitely happens because like it basically just buys you more time, essentially. Like we know we're gonna lose this guy, so why don't we franchise tag him and then try to trade him somewhere and get something for him? So yeah, it definitely could happen. I don't remember the last time it did happen, but I'm sure it did not too long ago. And I'm just forgetting. So sorry, I had to sneeze. Just real quick, going back to the Jets and how they're the Lions of the 2000s, and obviously our dad was a big Lions fan and stuff. But yeah, they have the longest active streak of not making the postseason in the 4 major sports in the U.S. So Jets 15 seasons. 2010 was the last time they made the playoffs. Buffalo Sabres 14 seasons, the Angels 11 seasons, and then the Hornets 9 seasons. So the Jets are number 1 there. Kind of crazy.
Oh, it's good to be number 1 at something, I guess.
Yeah. And they didn't get an interception last year.
History. Yeah, I was going to say they also probably have the longest streak without an interception. Was that the first time that ever happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think the longest. I think it's the first time it ever happened in a season, whether it's a 12 game, 14, 16, 17. I think the longest was like 13, 14 games or something. A team went the first like 13, 14 games of the season, and then they got one. That's so crazy, man, because it's just like, how many tipped ball interceptions do you see? Or just like, miscommunication, and like, how do you not get one interception? That's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Just not one that just falls into your hands, like, batted pass up in the air. It's just insane. So yeah, the other thing we kind of want to touch on real quick here, and then we'll probably take off, but they did add rookies into keep, trade, cut. And again, does this mean something? I think it kind of does, because if a rookie wide receiver, and again, this keep, trade, cut's not a perfect tool whatsoever, but I do know a lot of people base, they use the calculator and they kind of base, their decisions a lot, or like around keep, trade, cut. So whether we like it or not, it does have an influence on our dynasty leagues. And so, I do think the initial rankings of these rookies matter, because if you start off at wide receiver 10, if you have a good September, you're going to be a top 5 wide receiver. If you start off at 16 and you have a good September, you're going to be wide receiver 12, and that changes a lot of value and stuff like that. So, we'll look at the quarterbacks first. Mendoza is the name, QB 15. I went back and looked. Cam Ward was QB 13, which I was actually a little bit surprised about. And there's I think there's other reasons why maybe Ward was there and stuff. Like, it also matters, like, who are you ranking them over? But kind of in that same tier, I think it's fair for Mendoza right there at QB 15. I think that's kind of where you just put like the number 1 pick, and a number 1 pick that's not like this generational talent. Ty Simpson is the other quarterback that could go in the first round, 29th overall. He's literally he's at the end of the guys that we probably think are starters. I mean, Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, then it's like Daniel Jones, Penix, Kyler Murray, McCarthy. Like, we assume those guys are going to be starters, but maybe not. And then it's like guys like Malik Willis, Mac Jones, Tua and stuff. So kind of an interesting ranking there, in my opinion. Trinidad Chambliss is going back to school, so he shouldn't even be there. Not much in the quarterback spot here. So, wide receivers, first one was Mekhi Lemon. I was a little bit surprised about that. But wide receiver 16. The only reason I'm surprised about that, because I feel like most content creators, I have Lemon as my wide receiver 1. But I feel like most like mock drafts you see, it's always like Tyson and Tate being taken in the top 5, top 10, and then Lemon is like the 3rd wide receiver taken in like the top 15. But I don't know. Keep, trade, cut has him as the number 1 guy, followed closely by Tyson and Tate. So it is interesting because normally like the number one wide receiver is going to be kind of ranked in the top 10. Tedero and McMillan, I think, was initially ranked wide receiver 10. I think the last time we saw this where they weren't listed in the top 10 was the JSN draft. So I don't know. Does that tell you anything really about like the overall feeling of the draft that people have, or of these actual players, or not much?
I don't know. Like I guess that's something I've never really paid attention to too much. I mean, like the thought process is definitely there. I feel like there's been a pretty good influx of receivers and, guys in different early stages of their career kind of like proving it to a certain degree, I guess. Like, and so they're all kind of like moving up there. And I feel like we're getting a little less knee jerky to receivers. I mean, I'm just kind of like looking at all the names. So maybe, I don't know. I definitely have to think about that.
Yeah, it is interesting because essentially what this is kind of telling you as well is like, this is what your pick is worth in a way, right? So like if Mekhi Lemon is the wide receiver 1, people are saying the 102, theoretically, a lot of people are saying it should go, obviously Jeremiah Love and then, wide receiver 1 in this class. And so theoretically, people are saying the 102 is kind of worth this, a McConkey, a Dunze, Harrison in this draft. So
I'm looking through their actual rankings, non-positional, and like I see picks with just like the general tag of but they don't like the mid, the early, the late, that kind of thing. But I don't see individual picks, and I felt like there was kind of a disconnect there last year, where it's like you would see rookies, like you'd basically see them after the pick. They were kind of like projected at like you would see, or like you would see the 101 projected. Like I felt like it was significantly higher than like Genty, for example.
I think you were right.
But I don't see the individual picks here. I remember someone kind of pointing that out too. I'm sure if you go on the calculator, like
they might not have added them yet.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird for the 26th, doesn't it?
I remember it being a little bit later. Did they add it?
Yeah, they're there on the calculator.
So what's it saying? Like 102 versus Ladd.
Let's see.
Because like theoretically it should be close to even, maybe slightly Ladd.
Now it like highly favors the 102.
Okay.
Ladd is probably like the 4.
I mean, what they're saying here is like Lemon is the 102. Maybe it's Mendoza is the 102. I don't know.
He's really close to the 104. Ladd is.
Ladd.
Yeah.
Which, he's kind of in that tier with Tyson and Tate as well there in that that one tier.
They're basically saying he's equal to the 105.
So a little bit of a disconnect then, I would say.
Use that to your advantage if possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I made a video about this and posted it today, but I mentioned that about Denzel Boston. If you're drafting, like we know our guy Pete is drafting in March. And again, are people going to go by this as gospel? Maybe, maybe not. But like Denzel Boston, to me, like he could easily be closer to that tier of like the top 3 guys, but he's definitely, there's a significant gap. He's wide receiver 30 in tier 7, where those guys are in tier 5. So I think he could potentially be a really good value there. The top 5 is kind of what we expected. I was a little bit surprised that Omar Cooper Jr. is actually I think the top 5, like most people agree on. After that, it's a little bit of like the wild, wild west of like who should go where. Omar Cooper, though, is their wide receiver 6, and it's not even really close, which I thought was interesting out of Indiana. I'm starting to get, rise on him each and every day. He's a lot of fun. But yeah, to see like Chris Bell, we talked a little bit about Chris Bell down at like wide receiver 71. I think there's potentially some value there for sure. Running backs, I mean, man, last year I think we had 4 in the top 15 in Genty, Hampton, Travion, and Judkins. This year we have 1 in the top 22. Jeremiah Love, kind of right where, slightly behind like where Genty, I think, came in as like the RB3 when he got added in. Jeremiah Love, RB6. That's fine. He should kind of be in that tier. I remember like a week ago, they had from like RB3 to like 15, like all in like one tier, or maybe it was like 13 or something. I was like, that seems a little strange. Yeah, but then they have Jonah Coleman, and then Nicholas Singleton is their RB3, which I completely disagree with. I think he's a little bit of a Ollie Gordon type of, we've been hearing about Nicholas Singleton for a long time. He's played 4 years, very productive as a freshman. To me, he's like a Devi guy of like, yeah, this guy was kind of expected to be the next big guy, just like Ollie Gordon was. And I don't know. I don't see it with Singleton personally. So I would avoid that if you're drafting pre-NFL draft. I would avoid Singleton. You essentially have to pay this is like a late first-round pick in a rookie draft for him, and I think that's a huge mistake. Price is my RB2 there. Emmett Johnson's the next guy. And then Kenyon Sadiq, supposed to be a first-round pick, is the only tight end even close. Like, I think the next one is, tight end 31. So they're basically saying, and this is how I feel too, we know Kenyon Sadiq's probably a first-round pick, clear-cut guy. After that, we don't really know who the tight end 2 is. And so we kind of group 3 guys and tight end 31 to 37 or whatever. So again, interesting to see, because I do think it affects where these guys, it makes it a lot harder for, Eli Stowers to get into the top 15 because he's starting at tight end 31. It's going to take time. So for that to happen, so anything else we missed? Any other news or?
Not that I can think of.
Gonna announce tomorrow for Cass, if you're still here, the next listener league. So I think we have enough people to start this up, but if you're interested in that, join the Discord. We're probably going to try and do the startup in March. So March or early April. I want to do it before the NFL draft. So it's going to be a big money league, which, it's going to be like $50 or $75. Nothing too crazy.
Hey, don't downplay that. All right.
No. I just know when, everyone has their own perception of what big money means. So we play in a lot of $30 leagues. So
what's the most expensive league you've ever played in?
I think only $100, my highest I've ever been in. So
I don't even think I've ever done that. I think Marty's leagues were the most expensive. Those were 80. Well, they were really
80 or
87
89 or something. 87.
They were 87 because the $7 went towards paying MFL to run the league.
Yeah.
Which fuck those guys. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I still don't understand why they haven't upgraded that shit though. The amount of leagues that are run on that, there's a lot of fucking leagues on that, how many does Marty have? 200 or something?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
And that's not even, all the league safe stuff going on. I know I'm pretty sure Scott Fish runs it on MFL.
League safe is Scott Fish.
Yeah, but his the Scott Fish Bowl or something, I think half of it runs on MFL and then the other half on Sleeper or something.
Maybe that's why it's still $8 a person, basically, because I can't imagine they're charging Scott Fish a ton run the Scott Fish Bowl. Maybe, like, I feel like that, like, you almost want to like run that for free. One, because it's charity. Two, because there's so much exposure.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It just feels like they should update it a little bit. There's a lot of good things about MFL, but like get an app. Like, you're not going to survive in 2026 if you don't have a good mobile app. Like, you just I don't know. I shouldn't say that because they are surviving, but I think you could do a lot better if you had a good mobile app. So, anyways, that's our rant about MFL. So yeah, if you're interested in that, join the Discord.
Says Scott Fish Bowl primarily uses Sleeper.
Okay, they might have changed. I remember hearing about it in like there were some MFL leagues and sleeper leagues. I think before, maybe just a couple years ago, it was mostly MFL or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be out. We'll be back Saturday morning talking more Dynasty. If you want to do a rookie mock, join me Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing rookie mocks then. And next, I guess the end of next weekend, we can overreact to the combine. So appreciate everyone. Take care, and we'll see you guys all on Saturday. See you.